Hello, beautiful people and fellow Canadians. Andrew the Realtor here with the Essential GTA Housing Market Update Election Edition. In fact, it's not even really a housing market, but it's a housing policy update. And I wanted to do this because obviously there are plenty of questions in terms of the upcoming election, which is very important. You'll have plenty of chances to be reminded to vote in this video. But listen, I'm going to keep it to the facts. I'm not doing anything of opinion. And really appreciate your time, guys. I'm going to get right into it. So, guys, first thing, we're going to talk about important dates this month about the election specifically. That alone, honestly, when you see it, pause it and look at it and be reminded, because I know some of these dates I didn't even remember. And of course, housing policy only, no opinion. I'm not even going to underline or highlight anything because I don't want you guys to think I'm pushing one party versus the other. But the top three big parties, I'm going to mention the highlights of the housing policies that they're looking to implement. And of course, no opinions, just the facts, guys. Onwards. As always, guys, I mentioned this. My housing market updates, my Midtown housing market update, my listings and listing information, guys, is all just to provide valuable information about the local housing market. I try to make minimal opinion, as much information that I would if I was a seller, if I was a buyer, if I was a homeowner, Torontonian. Information that I'd want to know is what I'm trying to give you guys. So on the left there, you can see the QR code. That's my little real estate experience app, website, you name it. It's got the information. It's got information there. You can contact me. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. If you like this at all, please like and subscribe. This is only this information, no spam, nothing out of the ordinary. And if I talk a little fast, it's coffee. You can always slow it down. Guys, key federal dates. This is really big, and I was a little surprised. So right after the beginning, March 23rd, I know we're in April already. This is like two, 3 weeks ago already. Open their offices, and it goes until April 22nd. So that's important. So you can start voting. Vote on Campus is offered on April 16th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So that's important for those of you who obviously that applies to. Canadian Armed Forces. I didn't know about this. It's cool. You have your own time where you can vote at the military poll set up for your base or your unit. So if that's you, if you're in the Canadian Armed Forces, first of all, thank you very much for your service. Second of all, check out that date and click on that. Or if you know someone, you're in Toronto and you know somebody who's on the bases, let them know so they can vote. And again, there's a whole bunch of other things there as well. By the way, Elections Canada, I'm going to leave a link right under this video in the description. The first link is not going to be to me. It's going to be to Elections Canada, and they have all this information. And if you have any questions, obviously, you click on that link, check out the dates, your area. You have all the information there you need to vote. And lastly, on this page, April 22nd, this is the deadline to vote by mail. Very important. It's a deadline. That's why it's highlighted. I put it in bold there. After this, you can't apply a vote by mail, so you have to come in person. If that's on you, you got some issues, mobility issues or something, keep that in mind, please. So, of course, April 28th. Guys, this is the day. Bring your ID. If you haven't registered yet, make sure you are at the polling station. You know which way to go. Check your voter information card. Make sure everything is right. And go in there and do your duty as a citizen of Canada, I'm proudly so, and vote for your party. So, guys, again, click on the link for elections thingy. So, here are the housing highlights of the three main parties. Again, trying to be minimally biased. Just mentioning some of the main points. These are some of the main points here. And to be honest, it's kind of hard to get some of the main points from some of the parties. Some have a full page. Others I haven't really found specifically a page that has this. But this is thanks to Shubha Gupta from Pineapple Mortgage. He did some of the information here. And so I'm stealing some of his info. But this is all specific. It's all public, obviously. So right off the bat, we're going to start with the red guys, the Liberal Party of Canada. And here are the housing highlights. So yes, you have first-time homebuyer incentives. That's a big deal. Obviously, there are plenty of first-time homebuyers. And eliminating GST in homes under $1 million for first-time homebuyers. That's a big deal, by the way. But again, new homes. Please note the details when you see this. If you look at it generally, all these things, you can get the impression. You can get a wrong impression. So there's specific little stipulations. For example, the second one, extend insured mortgage amortizations to 30 years. Well, that's pretty cool. If you're into that kind of thing, it certainly lowers your monthly. First-time homebuyers of new builds. Important. So when you look at these things, there are always more caveats. There's always more details. You might want to check out the Liberal Party website specifically, but this is important. And less than me just reading it off to you guys, you can always just pause this, look at this. I want to make sure you guys have this information. Homebuyers Bill of Rights, banning blind bidding and those kinds of things. Whatever you might think of that, that's one of the things that are implementing. Now, housing supply has obviously been a big thing, and I think Mark Carney has been talking about that recently. Commit to building 4 million new homes by 2035. Ambitious number, no doubt. Preserve the Housing Accelerator Fund, which is something that you guys might want to look into in terms of approvals and zoning changes. Fund supportive housing to help end chronic homelessness by 2030. Admittedly, I don't even know what that means, but that's worth looking into. Some more notes on the Liberal Party specifically. Expand the Canada Housing Benefit to assist renters. That's something interesting. Remove GST on new purpose-built rental projects. Notice new. That's very important. It's been mentioned in several points already. 20 billion social infrastructure and supportive housing. Social infrastructure is a thing. Important thing that I think at least one other party has is maintain the 2-year foreign buyer ban. Whatever you may think of that's been going up to this year. I believe sometime this year is supposed to stop, and that's the intent. As best I can tell at this point, we have some time till the election. This is something that they want to continue. 1% annual tax on vacant properties. Now, I know a lot of people downtown Toronto and Midtown Toronto especially. Why I say that? There's older buildings and such. Some people have second properties and that kind of thing. That's going to affect and has affected tremendously. So that's something to keep in mind. Retain the anti-flipping tax. Profits from homes held under 12 months taxed as business income. And if you've ever had a chance to talk to your accountant about that kind of thing, that's a significant thing. That's something to think about. Okay, one little ditty that I put in myself that I noticed is they want to create something called Build Canada Homes, which will get the federal government involved to build new homes. And it's going to act as a developer, build affordable housing at scale, and of course, providing $25 billion in financing for prefabricated home builders in Canada. You want to look that up. There's some interesting points there that you might want to know if you're into that kind of thing. And providing $10 billion in low-cost financing capital to affordable home builders. So obviously, housing is such a big deal that's why there's so many points. Sorry for boring you or just reading this out to you guys, but obviously pause, feel free to read this, and definitely check this out on each of the party's website. So on to the Conservatives. Okay, so the Conservatives, some similar things, some not. Remove GST on new homes, up to 1.3 million for all buyers. Savings up to 65,000 sold. Extend mortgage amortization for 30 years for first-time home buyers. So again, it's not just anybody. There's stipulations to these 30 years mortgage amortization situations. So definitely keep that in mind. Not everyone knows that. I know because that's the reason I mentioned it. Not everyone knows that. Interesting. 7 to 10 year fixed rate mortgages for stability. That's an interesting idea. You don't see those as often. Restore the full 5,000 home buyers tax credit. And this is a biggie. I just mentioned it. I should have underlined it. The deferred capital gains on reinvestment in real estate. That's a kind of an interesting point specifically. Several people have mentioned it, so I'll announce it here. I'm not endorsing or not endorsing this party. I'm saying this particular interesting point here is something that a lot of people, especially in Toronto with lots of equity, possible second properties, investment properties, cottages, these kind of things, or selling estate, these kinds of things. This is something you want to look into, and the specific points, because the money does need to be reinvested in real estate, reinvested in Canada. The specifics of which I confess I don't even fully understand or know yet, I should say. But that is a thing. Deferred capital gains, that's a big deal. Some of you might be very interested in that, especially business people, accountants. You guys know about this much more than I do. Housing supply, tie federal funding to city home building targets. 50% annual increase, reward municipalities. That's a thing, rewarding municipalities exceeding housing targets with bonus funding. So that there's going to be a bit of a meritocracy situation going on there. Not sure. Make transit funding conditional on higher density zoning. So that's an interesting idea, one way or the other. Sell 15% of federal government real estate for housing and development. I believe it's something like 6,000 or something properties that are owned by the federal government and which can be sold to developers for developing, for increasing housing in general. So that's a thing. Remove GST on new rental construction at lower cost. New CMHC lending rules. Some other things, obviously rental market and social housing. That's a really big deal, especially if you know elderly. That's something very important. Foreign ownership and speculation. So similar, maintain the foreign buyer ban and extend if necessary. So that's similar to what I mentioned about the Liberals earlier. Strengthen anti-money laundering. That is a thing in the GTA especially, but in general in Canada, in the housing market, because of the price of homes, it's a lot of money. Money laundering is a thing. It certainly needs to be addressed. Enforce stricter anti-speculation rules, but oppose increased capital gains tax. Okay, so there's a bit of a pushback from some of the Liberals have been saying. So again, two different parties, two different ideas, very important. Now, our friends are the NDP, New Democratic Party of Canada. So what are they thinking about? You'll notice a bit of a different slant on some of these things. And again, that's why we have different parties. You can vote according to your conscience and according to how you like. So building 5,000 affordable homes over 10 years with 100,000 rent-controlled units, 20%, 1,000 out of 500, by 2035. Ambitious numbers, certainly, and a lot of rentals. Rentals are a big deal. Federal crown land to housing development. I don't know personally how that correlates to what I mentioned about the Conservatives and what the Liberals are talking about in terms of federal crown land. So I'm not sure, but that's something worth looking into. Again, the point being, Canada, second biggest country in the world. Lots of land. There's certainly some things can be done. Interesting. Create a community housing development bank to fund co-ops and nonprofits. That's interesting if you're into co-ops and nonprofits. Again, really, really heavy on the rental affordable home situation here with the NDP, at least in these specific highlights. And of course, streamline federal approvals for housing projects and train 100,000 new skilled workers for construction jobs. Something you want to look at in all three of the parties is there is a push, there's an emphasis, I'm happy to hear from all three parties. I'm happy to hear about this. Skilled workers, specifically trades and those kind of things. Guys, especially if you're watching this, you're in the trades, I love you, I respect you. You guys are desperately necessary and needed. And the more people in the trades, in construction-related fields, certainly my opinion, not election aside, my personal opinion in terms of the industry, God bless you. Do it. It's awesome. Amazing work. You're doing God's work. So, guys, and the other thing here on NDP, the second page here, strengthening rent control. This is a NDP thing, and so it's important to note. Rent control, protect renters from rent evictions, regulate corporate landlords and large REIT. So there's some government control, rent control, I guess is the word. I don't want to sound negative. Expand the federal vacancy tax and anti-flipping tax. That's a big thing. And of course, homelessness and supportive housing. They take a very strong stance. Look at the wording. Declare a national housing homelessness emergency. Whatever that may mean legally, look that up. Increase Canada housing benefit to help renters invest in shelters, transitional housing. So there's definitely a big deal on the homelessness issue, national housing, and rentals and those kind of things, as you can tell, for the NDP specifically. So slightly different slants on an important topic, which is housing. Housing is important for everybody. Obviously, across the board. I mean no disrespect to the Green Party or Bloc Québécois or any of the other parties. I just said the big three here. I don't want to make this too long, and obviously you can look that up. But one thing it's important to not only know the dates, do vote please, but also, as I mentioned here, give it some sufficient thought. And then, April 28th, at the latest, please do vote according to your conscience. And listen, we have an amazing right here in Canada. God bless us for having that. Guys, Andrew the Realtor here. I'm trying to give you valuable information. This is a little bit out of my out of my usual purview. I don't talk about elections. I try not to deal with that. Housing market, numbers on the line, no opinions. I'm very, very big on the numbers and facts. But this is important. So guys, please do vote. But after that, if you have a chance, hit like and subscribe. I try to my best to get you guys good information. On the left there, a QR code. You can click on that. It's my real estate experience. That's real estate now. And of course, Ask Andrew the Realtor, www.askandrew.realtor. That's me. And the information is at the bottom. At the bottom, link, Elections Canada. Click on that if you have information, guys. And do take care, fellow Canadians. Love you. Have a great rest of April. Vote!